It is a cloudy day in Daytona Beach, Florida. Welcome everybody to the first race of a 30 race season for the 2023 Fastenal Cup Series season. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the Daytona 500 and it is bound to be an exciting return to recording races here. I mean, I know I've already recorded 3 technically if you include the 2 duels and the clash, but this is the first points race of the year. 40 drivers going for the opportunity for glory to etch their name in the history books in the biggest race of the year. And Ian Wallace is already to a good start. He will start on pole position alongside Alon Keshiel, who I believe is making her second front row appearance in 3 years, just roughly give or take, for the Daytona 500. Jackson McFreeze was able to win duel number 1, so he will start in third position alongside Hunter Kiro, who won duel number 2. Of course, if you want to see the entirety of those results, watch the videos that I uploaded a few days ago, at least at time of recording, to see what all happened in those. And of course, spoiler alert in case you haven't watched those as of yet. Uh, Robert Dobbs, rather, and Theodore Keene, unfortunately, failed to qualify, and they are the only 2 failed to qualify drivers. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get this race going here. And a couple of things is I did make edits to the camera set so that way it actually, looked good. Went on as the field rounds, I think this is turn 2, yeah, and whatnot. So now my camera sets, of course, had a couple of issues, so I went ahead and modified them. So it actually worked for the big race. And I went ahead and made sure that I had the ticker, of course, ready to go. You'll see that here in a moment. It's the field rounds turns 3 and 4. And on to the trial bowl. Getting set to go racing for 80 laps around this 2.5-mile long super speedway. The pace car dives in. Into the restart zone we go. Green flag is out. We are racing at Daytona. Ian Wallace gets a good launch off the start, able to get pushed by Jackson McFreeze as they head down the back straightaway for the first time. Looks like Jackson McFreeze is going to be side by side for the lead with Ian Wallace as they round turn 3 and 4. 3 wide for third as it looks like Amy Walsh gets a push from Sean English. Across the stripe, it is going to be Jackson McFreeze leading lap 1. Down the back straightaway for the second time today. And Amy Walsh looks to be to the inside of McFreeze as they go through 3 and 4 now. Does Sean English take a 3 wide? He will. Who's going to lead the lap, though? McFreeze. 3 wide now for the lead as they rocket down the tri-oval. And then Sean English will have the lead as they come down the back straightaway. McFreeze able to pull just ever so slightly ahead down the back straightaway. 4 wide As they run through 3 and 4, of course, we saw issues when cars went 3 wide, or 4 wide, I should say, in the duels. Ooh, Lana Casio almost caught the wall there. Looks like they're able to settle it back down to just 3 wide as they come across the stripe. I'm pretty sure McFreeze may have led that lap as he actually is able to have a strong run on the outside. He's actually able to kind of run both lanes here, keep everybody behind him for now. Perhaps the cloudy weather providing a different aspect of racing for these new next-gen cars. Walsh and English still side by side for second as here comes Kiro now. Try and take fourth away from Logan Morris with a push from Jensen Nomina and number 80. Looks like the high lane may be the lane to be in right now as Amy Walsh has cleared Sean English. Is now going after McFreeze for the lead as they run down the back straightaway for the 5th time today. And Walsh has it as they come across the line. New leader in the 44. Here comes English now to the inside as they come down the tri-oval and head towards turn 1. But he's going to not be in the lead for long as here comes Jensen Nomina with a push from Ricky Foxon. Ricky Foxon, of course, used to be in that car that Nomina is driving right now, although it was number 51 just a season ago. Foxon, of course, moved over to Bledsoe Brothers Racing for the season after parting ways with Crago Autosport. And now she's going to actually try and go for the lead as they run through 3 and 4. With a push from the 60 of Cole Dillon, Rookie of the Year last year, and the most recent race winner, at least in terms of points races. Foxon leads the lap. Meanwhile, at the tail end of the field, looks like Vaughn has dropped back. Of course, he's the defending race winner for the Daytona 500. Max O'Quinn, of course, started last. Looks like he hasn't made much of a move up the field. A lot of guys, in fact, towards the pack haven't made much of a move. Defending champion Lamas is still back there. Richards started second to last. He's back there. Merzlak, who we're actually focused on right now, also back in the pack. Foxon continues to lead. Nomina now looking to the inside of Foxon as the field rounds turn number 1 for the 9th time today. And he actually clears her off of turn number 2. Cole Dillon was right behind him now. Nomina goes up to block the 8. Try and block that run before they go into turn 3. And he will still be in the lead as they round turn 3 and 4. 3 wide towards the back half of the top 10. Perhaps the field just settling in as they click off the laps here. His pit window is expected to be just before halfway and just before lap 70 as well. Three wide for a second as the field begins to bunch back up. Looks like Mikey Willard's also kind of fallen back in the 24 car. Perhaps a call to try and maybe stay out of trouble, should anything arise. Nomino Wallace now starting to pull a little bit away from the field as they run side by side. Now Wallace betrays Nomino by going to the inside. Wallace didn't get a chance to lead lap 1 after starting on pole. He's going to try now as they're side by side for the lead. Dillon clear of the rest of the field as they run through 3 and 4. And it's Maddox side by side with Foxen for 4th now. And it's going to be Ian Wallace leading that lap. Former Supercars champion for Team Penske. And he's going to get easily passed by Dillon with a push from Foxen as they run through 1 and 2 for the 12th time today. Oh, okay, maybe not easily passed by Dillon. As they're still side by side for the lead as they run through 3 and 4. Ooh, 3 wide for the lead as Foxen goes back to try and retake it. Echo Evans Ross making her way up through the field, a push from Steffi Plaxico behind her. Meanwhile, further back in the field, a couple of drivers methodically making their way up the field. Namely, Travis Heflin and William Sparks, as we're focused on Heflin right now. They started deep in the field, and they're now working their way trying to crack the top 10. Haven't quite done it yet, but never say never. Field still within 2 seconds of each other as they cross the line. Foxen clear of the field to through wide for second. Looks like Steffi Plaxico now. Couldn't quite hold it on the bottom until they got to the corner. Dillon looked to try and block, but Plaxico is already there with a push from Arnstruff behind her. It's interesting how this race will be playing out. Will we remain green throughout the entire thing? Last few Daytona 500s, of course, have not. 2020 was actually caution riddled, of course. Several incidents alone caused by Victor Smith, who was in the 84 car at the time, only ran that one race before being suspended by NSCA officials. And speaking of which, up at front, Plaxico being pushed by the 84 of Arnstruff. And then Arnstruff goes up high to push 8 of Foxen. So Foxen will legally lap, but Plaxico still side by side. Heflin and Sparks both in the top 10 now as they are racing side by side. Ever so briefly, but now they are definitely side by side. As Foxen is able to get the run on the high side down the back straightaway. Another driver that's methodically worked his way up through the field is defending champion Cody Lamas in the 48. He's now looking to crack the top 10, as I think he was 11th last time by. Oh no, he was 10th last time by. Never mind. I stand corrected. Of course, something to note in the NSCA. Only one woman has won the Daytona 500 in the history of the sport, that being Alana Mullen back in 1985. No woman has been able to win it since, even though we've had a plethora of women drivers since. Now two are leading the field, Foxen and Plaxico. And not too far behind is Plaxico's teammate, Ray Takita. Just figure I'd give you that little fun little tidbit for a little bit of a history of the sport. Of course, them along with Cole Dillon and now Darian Armstrong clear of the field as they continue to race side by side. Well, and as I say, that Plaxico looks to the inside of Fox in 3 and 4 as Armstrong looks to the inside of Dillon as well for third. Ian Wallace, of course, not knowing who to run with, he looks to the inside of Dillon now as he pushes Armstrong, and Plaxico's not able to get to the aid of Fox, and unfortunately now Armstrong looks to the inside of Plaxico. Of course, Axiom Racing Union, not very much of a strong team. Last few years, they've been not quite a backmark, but not quite a mid-pack field team. I said that weird, but whatever. Anyways, so we work lap number 19. Heflin now looks to the inside of both Wallace and Plaxico for third position. By the way, driver I want to talk about real quick who I've noticed is here right on the cusp of cracking the top 10. The 95 of Fred McRiley, nephew of George McRiley, and driving for that family-owned team. Only making a few part-time starts this year, but they are not necessarily the greatest team in terms of the National Series, I should say. I was about to say Xfinity Series. This ain't real life NASCAR. Anyways, not the strongest team in the National Series, but they have been able to capitalize whenever the big teams were not able to have as great of a run as they normally do. And now he's looking to crack his top 10 in his first career Cup Series start. Meanwhile, up front, Ian Wallace gets around Darian Armstrong for the lead. And now Lamas looks to make a 3 wide for third, possibly second, definitely second. Can the defending champion go for the lead? Of course, Cody Lamas, a Daytona 500 winner himself, won it back in 2006, if I recall correctly. And another driver we have not talked about today is Calvin Richards. He is pushing Lamas right now, trying to get him up to second, and now it looks like he's going to have the 95 to his inside here. So a lot of drivers that started in the back slowly working their way up towards the front now. You also have Samuel Henson Jr. there as well. You have Brandon Hancock in the 3, the 24 Mikey Willard, Blade Runner in the 77 there right behind him, Harold Granger in the 57. They're all in that inside lane, and they've slowly marched their way up towards the front of the field. Llamas still side by side with Kita for second. Kita, no help directly behind her as Llamas, McRiley and Amy Walsh, who's worked her way back up towards the front of the field after being shuffled towards the back. Ooh, McRiley, I think, may have bumped Llamas there. Llamas shoots up the track just a little bit, able to keep a hold of that car and keep it going straight. But that's going to negatively affect McRiley as Walsh now makes it 3 wide for second, briefly before Llamas, with no help on the outside lane, has to drift back and fall in line in between Takita and McRiley. Now, Amy Walsh might be under fire from Brandon Hancock to lead that inside lane, and no, Walsh is able to hang on to it. And now Walsh trying to get around the 12 of Wallace. Team Penske, of course, very strong at Daytona as always. Team that's Wallace is driving for. Of course, another team that's strong at Daytona is Pathfinder Racing, who Amy Walsh is driving for, as we randomly flick to the pace car for a brief second. And of course, the common ground between those two teams, Ford. Question of the day was, or the question going into the Speed Weeks here at Daytona was, just how strong were Ford going to be? They've been dominant at the super speedways and some of the larger tracks over the last few years, and are 4-time defending manufacturers champions. So how would the Fords react with the new car? And it looks like the Fords, they're doing pretty good. Although there are seemingly less of them towards the front, 2 of them are still leading the pack. Jensen Nomina has worked his way back towards the front after getting shuffled to the mid-pack at least. Doesn't seem like anybody can get around Ian Wallace at the moment. Not from lack of trying, though, as Amy Walsh goes to the inside of Wallace through 1 and 2, and can she clear him? No. Wallace just has that strength on the outside lane down the back straightaway. But Walsh is going to be able to clear Wallace here with a push from McRiley as they go through 3 and 4 for the 27th time today. Breaking up the Penske sandwich that was the field with Ian Wallace's teammate, the 2 of Ryan Vaughn, all the way at the tail end of the field still. Which is not where you want to be running. Brett Kenningberg also there in 39th. Evans Ross has fallen back to 38th. Glenn Butler, who is racing for Copeland Racing as a part-time entry this season, there in 37th. Not where you want to be running at all throughout this race. So, of course, a mixed bag for the part-time teams. You have one running second. You have... Let's see, where are the other ones here for part-timers? Well, here's a 88 of Alexis Phillips running for Junior Motorsports. About mid-pack, along with Jackson McFreeze, the Scotsman, known as the Magician, for, and I'm quoting here, the magical moves he makes on track in a series like DDM, or DTM, I should say, and a couple of the IMSA starts he has made. He's actually side by side with Logan Morse of Douglas Racing. So 3 part-time teams right there, and then of course Glenn Butler, who we already touched on a moment ago, with her running that far back. But of course, pit stops are coming, and that can shake up the field and also really separate the field if we don't get a caution. But it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes up. As earlier we mentioned Team Penske, here comes William Sparks. Joined Team Penske in 2021, if I recall correctly. And has done well for that team. As now he looks to the inside of his own teammate for second. And might get that actually clears Wallace. And now looks for the lead here against Amy Walsh. Down the back straightaway they go. Not able to get to Walsh as now Ian Wallace looks to do the crossover. With Brandon Hancock in the 3 right behind him. Two-car breakaway at the front of the field. Snowman goes from top to bottom. Looks to make it 3 wide on Ian Wallace there. Couldn't quite get there as Ian Wallace did not leave a full car width of lane there. But of course, as the old adage goes, to quote Atten Senna, if you no longer go for a gap that exists, ... You can finish the quote in your minds now. As Mikey Wheeler looks to the inside of Tyler Blade Runner there. And for the lead, here comes William Sparks on Amy Walsh. Sparks, of course... Ooh, pit stops. Oh, and we got a spin. That is Alana Kiro. She collects somebody. I can't quite tell because I can't go back far enough. Ooh, Nomina also gets turned, as does Glenn Butler and the O2 Takeda. So that is going to bring out the caution. And not only does it bring out the caution, but it looks like it brought out the caution before the field even got to the line, which was pretty damn close. So as these guys do make their stops, unsure if they're going to get penalized for pitting when entering closed pit road. Ooh, as Takeda has the entire back end of her car ripped off. Minus the spoiler, of course. So she did get damage in that wreck. We are going to go ahead and take a look at that. So coming off of the corner. Ooh, looks like Alana Kira had to slow up because of the 99. Couldn't quite. Alright. But got run over by the 59 when G dropped in front of him. And that sent her around. As well as Dylan Maddox, because they kind of bounced off the wall and drifted up in front of the field. However, they collect both the 43 of Evans Ross and Glenn Butler. Glenn Butler shot down to the inside and just ass packs the O2 of Takeda, who then gets into the back end of the 80. of Nomina. And yeah, by this point, pit road is closed. So, who was the first car? Okay, so pit road is already closed for everybody here. So it's going to be interesting to see if they all will have to face a penalty for pitting under a closed pit, as they will obviously be at the head of the field here. So Maddox does come off pit road as the last car there. But he's at the tail end of the field anyway, especially after getting caught up in a wreck. So it is going to be interesting to see if the 95, the 29, the 24, the 82, the 2, the 02, and the 80 and the 52 all get penalized for entering pit road under caution and servicing their cars. As we are now going to go ahead and accelerate. Oh, as the 90 car of Brajan Stojanovic reporting a fuel issue with the car. They have not pulled off to the side of the road as of yet. So we do have the one to go signal as the 60 is reporting an engine issue. Oh, yep. 60 car. That is a blown engine for the 60 of Cole Dillon. Not what you want to see. So the caution will be extended just ever so briefly to try and get some of that fluid cleaned up. And it was an issue with the headers. As the field rounds turn number 4. As we get set to go racing once again, just before halfway, into the Geico restart zone we go. Green flag is back out. McRiley leads him down. Well, let's hope some of these guys back here don't get penalized for passing before the green flag. Or before the start and finish line. As Woolard wasting no time trying to get around Max O'Quinn and Ryan Vaughn, who both were at the tail end of the field with Brett Kenningberg here. CO2 Takeda, of course. No rear end on that car for understandable reasons. Getting hit like that by the 52. And, well, considering that none of those drivers are heading down pit road, I don't think there's a black flag for any of them. So, interesting call by NSCA officials there. So now Ryan Vaughn is going for the lead. So these guys just gained a massive advantage with a no call on these guys pitting under what technically was a closed pit. Very interesting as the field very spread out, uncharacteristically, for this restart. And despite having no rear bumper at all, Takeda somehow hanging on with the lead pack. Hasn't lost too many spots so far. Vaughn led the lap, but here comes Brett Kenningberg now. Driving the flagship car for Wolfpack Racing, trying to take the lead off of turn number 2. Not going to be able to do it this time. Fred McRiley also pushing Vaughn back out, clear the field. 3 wide there for 5th as they round turns 3 and 4. Already past halfway. Front of the field definitely jumbled up here. And Nikita now no help other than Alexis Phillips behind her. So she has quickly begun to lose spots here as the field basically single file now. As a consequence, so is Alexis Phillips as some stragglers at the tail end of the field not able to quite get going here. Maddox and Glenn Butler both with damage, kind of starting to lose the draft here. Lamas at the tail end of the pack. Tail end of the field really strung out here. Like a good solid 10 or 11 cars just not together here. While the rest of the field side by side now as Ian Wallace has now found his way back up to the front. That didn't take long. Hancock right behind him in the 3. Of course, tragically, Trace Legacy passed away over the offseason, so Jennifer Legacy kind of quietly retired. That opened up 3, and Hancock was promoted up to the flagship car for Lionheart Racing, who reverted to their pre merger naming when to what it was named before they merged with Legacy Autosport. So Hancock's now in the 3 with, of course, Crown Jr. in the 37, who's not too far behind on that outside lane. Now that I mention it. Of course, Hancock being on that inside, potentially going for the lead, not going to last long. Not with Calvin Richards to his inside and around him. As Heflin pushing that 83 car now down the back straightaway. Kenningberg and Wallace, meanwhile, have been side by side this entire time. No real advantage one way or the other between those two. Teammates now side by side for second, ever so briefly. Of course, the 82 and 83, both Wolfpack Racing teammates. As Hunter Kiro just about tried to force the issue of going 4 wide there. Of course, we saw issues with cars going 4 wide in both duels. Both times, I believe, coming off of turn 2, if I recall correctly. Ian Wallace now definitively the leader as Heflin goes side by side with Richards for second. Hunter Kiro, though, wants that lead. Of course, Hunter Kiro, a previous winner of this event. He won it back in 2020. Tyler Blade Runner, however, gonna go to the inside of the 92 for third, and here comes Heflin now for the lead. And of course, as Blade Runner side by side with the 92 of Hunter Kiro, here comes Cody Hayner, a driver we have not talked about at all today. Making a charge up towards the lead, now pushing Heflin to the lead. I believe Heflin led that lap. Now Hayner has the third Wolfpack car to his inside. All three Wolfpack cars up here running in the top 15. That's a great run for them, especially with all the financial and sponsorship woes they've had in the late 2010s going into the early 2020s. Finally having some stability for that team, even with a sort of revolving door of drivers. Ian Wallace, I think, led that time by as Glenn Butler pretty much exactly half a lap down, 3 wide for the lead. Here comes Arnstruff now. He's seen the front of the field, but I don't think he's tasted a lead lap yet, or a lap led yet. And don't look too closely, but Logan Morse there also wants to make a name for Douglas Racing despite their part-time running this season. And Theodore Cox, they're being pushed by teammate slash team owner RJ Bishop as well. RJ Bishop, of course, the 2019 Daytona 500 champion. As it looks like the field, sans Maddox and Butler, have all pretty much remained together. Within 3 seconds of each other, according to the ticker. Arnstruff and Heflin still side by side for the lead. So we are through wide through most of this field. Arnstruff now clear of Heflin as they run through the tri-oval here. Arnstruff trying to run both lanes. But that's going to open the door for Morse to come in and try and take the lead away as they run through 1 and 2 for the 51st time today. For the second time today, I mean. Zicker just updated right as I was looking at it. Bishop Family Racing still running nose to tail. Of course, as I say that, Cox comes down to get in front of the 90 of Brayan Sojanovic, who had some involvement in that wreck just ever so slightly, I think. No, it was a fuel system issue that they came down pit road again to try and fix. I remember now. Because they had come down pit road. They might have gotten that fixed. As now he's going for second. Of course, he replaced Eugene DeMax at RTD Motorsports for this season as DeMax steps away for full-time ownership role. Not worried about driving. Ford, Toyota, Ford, the top 3. As looks like Morse got tight off of that corner. That's going to open the door for Stojanovic to try and take the lead. I think Morse just barely led that lap. By 2 1,000ths of a second. Yes, he did. Now he's definitively the leader as the Walsh takes second. And meanwhile, side by side for third, it is McGranger in the 57. McGranger we have not talked about at all today. Doing a phenomenal job at the moment. I will say the racing today has been much better than it was this time last year. So far, this next-gen car really producing some great racing compared to the late stages of the previous generation car. As we see Alexis Phillips for Junior Motorsports trying to make a move on McGranger for fourth. With a push from Ricky Foxon in the 8. As we have a 3-car breakaway, and they're actually pulling away from the rest of the field by the looks of it. Further back, it looks like Lamas has actually made up spots. As Vaughn has... I just now realized Vaughn has fallen really far back after starting at the front of the field. And interestingly enough, the 02 Takeda has kept up with the rest of the field despite having no tail end to that car. Ooh, as the field has caught the 52 of Butler. That's going to slow up the outside lane here. So Janovic's going to be definitively the leader. And let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 car breakaway? Maybe 8, 9? As Morris now goes for the lead, trying to take advantage here. As Butler doesn't know which direction to go to stay out of the way of the field, considering they are 3 wide behind her. I will say this, at least she has not caused a wreck as of yet, unlike Victor Smith back in the 2020 event. Oh, don't look now, but we have a historic name now in the top 10 in Erica Reinhardt. Of course, named after her great grand uncle. If I recall correctly, that's the name of the relationship ladder area. That great grand uncle, of course, being the famous Eric Reinhardt Sr., who, of course, was killed in this very race in 2001 on the final lap in the final turn. He's basically this universe's Dale Earnhardt. Just roll with it. Anyways, she looks to be trying to take third away from... she didn't have to run quite to get to Henson's inside until now. So, for now, just taking fourth away from Brian Stojanovic. There we go. Henson is able to hold off the 81 for now. And most of the field has sort of navigated their way around Butler. Man, Foxon, Walsh, and Bishop, and Heflin, and Kiro, all really the biggest losers of getting caught up behind Butler here. They've gone from the front of the field to the tail end. And Dylan Maddox in danger of going a lap down here as well. I thought I heard someone spinning, evidently not. There's the field now kind of getting strung out here. It was a result of Butler. Lamas has kind of worked his way towards the front again, as has Max O'Quinn in the 29. So, an interesting note, Ilana Kiro has worked her way up towards the front of the field, I just noticed. And she's kind of side by side with Jackson McFreeze for fourth. McFreeze is going to get the spot from having the advantage of the inside lane there. But of course, Kiro was the one to get spun to bring out the caution as green flag pit stops were beginning about 30 or so laps ago. Or 20, between 20 and 30 laps ago. And she had, I guess, cracked the top 10 here. Now stuck on the outside lane, probably going to start drifting back here. Meanwhile, McFreeze has worked his way back up towards the front, doing pretty good here. Of course, making his stock car racing debut, whatnot. But like I said earlier, he's raced in the DTM series, raced in IMSA for Gantry Kingsman Racing, who is a German-based team, whatnot. So not surprising they would choose Mercedes as their manufacturer to run. And that team more or less running for fun in this series. They're not necessarily worried about, anything, substantial. But they have said that if they feel it is worthwhile to enter the series full time, then they would, as the field now approaching the 59 of Maddox. We don't expect to be as slow compared to, like, Glenn Butler, as Stojanovic now passes him and puts him a lap down. But he is really going to hold up that outside lane here, like Butler did. Well, the holding up is not as egregious, by the looks of things, as Butler's was. Not to saying that Butler did anything wrong. She was able to keep it clean throughout having the field navigate around her, so nobody's daring to go 3 wide with Maddox, though, interestingly. Also, nobody's really been able to touch Stojanovic since he took the lead, which is interesting to note as, ooh, here comes Max O'Quinn to the inside of Crown Jr. and Plaxco, further back in the top 10 here, with a push from Hayner in the 0 car. Of course, we are nearing pit stops, and we are nearing 10 to go as well in this race. A couple of drivers have lost the draft, and Crago also in danger of losing it. Max O'Quinn on a charge towards the front. He's about to take third away from Lexus Phillips as they come off of turn number 2. Running in the back throughout most of the first stint of the race. In fact, I think pretty much all of it. As now Hayner looks to make a move to the inside. When will the pack pit? As it is 14 to go, I believe. Yeah, 14 to go. The top 4 drivers on a breakaway from the rest of the field as they're battling for 5th, 3 wide. Both RTD Motorsports drivers in that top 4, one leading, one fourth, as Hayner now looks to make it third on Alexis Phillips as they round turns 3 and 4. Does anybody come down pit road this time? Does not look like it. Although Maddox actually still in the field, not everybody's gone around him. Then again, unlike Butler, he actually has the speed to keep up with everybody by the looks of things. Hayner has successfully taken third, and Alexis Phillips has been dropped back out of the top 5 as a result of his pass, and thought about trying to make it a RTD 1-2 here. And he's still thinking about it. He's now looking inside. He now has the 57 behind him. Ooh, but just didn't have the speed to do it. Oh, as pit stops are happening once again. This time, people able to keep it clean. A large group of cars coming down. You got Walsh, both Bishop Family Racing cars, the 12, the 83, the 84, the 2, 24, 57. They come down pit road on lap 68, as we are now on lap 69. Nice. And Willard's going to lead them off of pit road. Field kind of separated as Glenn Butler also pits this time by. More cars come down pit road. The 37, the 4, the 88, the 04, the 8, the 77, the 99. All come down pit road, as well as the 43. The 02 also comes down pit road. These guys come off of pit road. Here comes the leaders, come to lap tail end of the guys that just came off of pit road. Ooh, careful, guys. Don't need a wreck. As the leaders now come down pit road. Or at least a good chunk of them. Well, Williams Parks is being scored in second. So I think Arnstruff is the leader right now. Could be wrong about that. No, it's the 6 who now comes down pit road. As I think everybody else who has not, Hunter Kira way down on the apron. I think this is the last of the drivers who... Ooh. What has happened to Kenningberg? Kenningberg slow on the apron. That's not what I want to do. I want to open this. What has happened to Kenningberg? He is slow on the apron. I don't see any mechanical issues with Kenningberg. He might be just out of gas. So tough break for that 82 team. As the field just rockets around him on the track. Oh, and he comes up on the track. That's going to cause a caution. As Lamas now comes down onto pit road. I think Lamas is scored as the leader right now. We'll see how it looks right now. Caution was, of course, thrown because the 82 came onto the track. Which, of course, was extremely dangerous, especially with cars running as fast as they were compared to him. Lamas, of course, saying, you know what, because of the fact that... Actually, did Lamas even get service? Ooh, Lamas did not get service, interestingly enough. As the field cycles around now. Kenningberg up, or accelerating up to speed now. Gonna have to see if he actually got service while on pit road. Yeah, he got a splash of fuel here, as we are less than 10 laps away from the end of this race. As everybody trying to get around the pace car, as the pace car is trying to pick up the leader. The question is, who is the leader? It's been scored as Brajan Stojanovic. These guys are more or less full speed here. Well, they are slowing down. So, odd series of events here. So now Cody Lamas is driving up further, but then again, he also was out ahead of the 90. I don't think he got service on pit road. So Stojanovic being scored as the leader. Previous time by, though I think Lamas might be the leader in actuality. Meanwhile, the rest of the field well behind. So I'm going to go ahead and wait till they come across the line here. Just ever so briefly. Yeah, Lamas is being scored as the leader because he came out ahead. And everyone else ahead is on the tail end of the lead lap. So you know what we're going to do? We are just going to wave everybody on by. That way we don't have any lapped cars affecting the... Oh, there we go. And just like that. And I think we are coming to the one to go as well. No, we are not. Interesting. You know what? There. Now we are coming to the one to go. So we will get 3 laps of racing left here to end this race. Lamas, Stojanovic, Granger, Merzlak has made his way up to the front of the field here. And Richards' green flag is out as they pass the Geico restart zone. 3 laps to go in this race. Keep in mind, I don't think Lamas pitted under the caution, and if he did, it was just a splash and go of fuel. As McGranger side by side with Stojanovic, Merzlak's going to take advantage and get to the back bumper 57 as they head down the back straightaway. Merzlak so close the last couple of seasons in the 500. He's looking to make a name for himself. Coming the 2 laps to go in the Daytona 500. Lamas continues to lead. Oh, as McRiley blows up in the middle of the field. Is that going to bring out the caution? It will. This is the race to the Daytona 500. Side by side down the back straightaway. Here comes McGranger now to the inside of Lamas. Richards to the inside of Merzlak. That may be what McGranger needs. Maybe what Queen City Racing needs. They had a combined 24 DNQs last season, but they're going to come around now to the white flag, any caution flag together. McGranger, if he can hold out this 1 lap, will have won the Daytona 500. There are no more green-white checkers. Due to a rule change over the offseason, there were green-white checkers, by the way. I forgot to mention that. But those stopped, but the NSCA got rid of those. As Ryan Vaughn, for some reason, darts to the apron. And off of turn number 4, behind the pace car, to complete lap number 80. Queen City Racing will get their first career win as a team. Harold Granger will get his first career win as a driver. On the biggest stage of the race, as Ryan Vaughn comes down pit road. What a crazy turn of events. Apparently, Vaughn had a tire issue. Though I can easily correct that to not be a tire issue in that he was running at the end of this race. But man, what a start to the season. It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out with this new car. And Queen City Racing, man. 24 DNFs last year between Alex Miller and Chase Marks. And then the first race they run this year, they're top of the pile. Harold McGranger gets the win. Calvin Richards in second. Steven Merzlik third. Sparks, Phillips, Willard, Lamas, then Cox. Hayner, Stojanovic, rounding out a RTD 910. Crown Jr., Max O'Quinn, Logan Morris, Jackson McFreeze, and Steffi Plaxco, the top 15. And Space Car apparently is going to do another lap. Maybe, I don't know. As the field comes down the pit road on the cool down lap. Hail McGranger, everybody. An interesting start to the season. Should be a good one. But of course, that is only the start of everything. As I'm hearing crashing up pit road, apparently. Oh yeah, the pace car came up pit road, I guess. So, new car, new teams, new drivers, and a new era of the series has begun, and a return to YouTube as well. And over an hour of video as well, because we are hitting the minute or hour and 13-minute mark now. So next race of the season is gonna be at. Can't remember actually. I'm gonna double check for you really quick here. It is at. Oh, it's at Auto Club. Auto Club is the next race of the year. So I'll see you then. But until then, thank you all so much for watching. We'll see you at the next race. Take care, everybody. What a start to the season.